Hello, boys and girls, or sluts, or whatever the hell you want to be called. You guys seem to enjoy derogatory terms that tear down your self esteem and help me boost mine, so thank you for that. Helps me with my deep seated insecurities. But anyway, as I've said before with these Twitter things, I am trying to get through. I asked for topics like 4 days ago, and I got a shit ton of them, and I didn't want to ask for topics again until I had gotten to all of them. And so, without further ado, here we go. Hope that you guys appreciate this. If you do, leave a rating. If not, just leave a goddamn rating. Jesus Christ. All right. XXZZ Win. Have you ever left the country? If not, do you plan to? Yes, I have. I have been to the very southernmost areas of Canada, and when I say areas, I mean a tiny little area, so I really don't have enough knowledge of Canada to judge. Seems like a cool place, from what I've seen on the internet and watched on the tube, but really can't judge that. I've been to Mexico, but at the same time, I haven't been to real Mexico. I've been to, like, white person Mexico, where you go on vacation, so I can't really judge Mexico. Seems scary, because all you hear about here in the U.S. aren't, like, good things that happen in Mexico. It's always like, oh, Lord, cartels and death and scary and torture and skinned-off faces and scary internet pictures that are not safe for work, and so that's basically what it is. We really don't have a very good perception of Mexico here in the U.S. because everything we're bombarded with is how dangerous and terrible it is because of the drug cartels that the rich people here are laundering the money for. So that's the answer to that question. I would love to go to Europe. It seems awesome, but something else that it should be said, that it seems as though people in the United States are less cultured just because we haven't been to as many other nations as people say in Western Europe. But you also have to take into account that you have to look at the size of the U.S. compared to the size of Western Europe. Like, the U.S. is gigantic. Most of our states are bigger than countries over there. And so when you think about the U.S., you can't just think of one, American culture. That's what it is. Like, no. Like, there's the Midwest, there's the Northeast, there's the mountain region, there's Pacific, there's the South. And within all those areas, there are small subsectors that are different independently, like Louisiana and the Appalachian Mountains, like places like that. And so really, just driving around the states, you get a huge dosage of different cultures that you wouldn't expect from the same country. Because when you look at something like Germany or France, I would anticipate that their culture is going to be a lot more homogenous, and they're not going to be as wildly different from all across the place. So when you think about it, you have to give us a little bit more credit here in the U.S. because just because it's all one country doesn't mean that we're all similar in any way, shape, or form. We're incredibly different, and even for me, going to somewhere like Birmingham, Alabama, and then coming back to St. Louis, it's like completely different. The way everything looks, the weather, the way people talk, the way mannerisms are, the way people just act in every social situation. It's just strange. The way buildings are, the way the cities are set up, it's just different. And then if I go from St. Louis on up to Manhattan, it's going to be even more different. Or if I go from Manhattan to San Diego, it's even more different. So it's a lot of different cultures pressed into one, and so you have to give us a little bit more credit than that. So there we go, a little bit of defense for Americans there. People think I'm way too critical on America, which, I mean, if there's any country that I'm going to be critical on, it seems like it would be the country that I live in, because that's the country that I have the most knowledge of. So, anyway, Shoot the Bunny, what are your views on Australia as a country and our defense force always rushing to aid the U.S. in any military operation? Australia as a country, you guys seem pretty cool. I mean, I haven't gotten to know any Australians aside from a few people from exchange programs, but I mean, yeah, they were pretty cool. They were down to get drunk pretty often. I enjoy that in a person, always down to party, and so that was awesome for them. But of course, I'm not going to let 3 people speak for all of Australia. I don't know. I mean, Australia seems cool. I'd love to visit there someday. Maybe if somebody buys me a ticket, fingers crossed. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want to put anybody in that situation. I wouldn't even accept it if you did, because it's so expensive. But that'd be awesome to go to Australia someday. The Defense Force always rushing to aid the U.S. in any military operation. It's an interesting thing, because it's almost like the U.S. doesn't want to appear as imperialistic in any of its endeavors, and so it kind of pulls in its lapdogs. It's like, oh, France, get over here. Oh, Australia, England, all you people come over here, and you're going to invade with us, so we don't look like imperialistic cocksuckers. And so if the people in that region in the Middle East, so if the United Arab Emirates turns to us and looks at us in Afghanistan and says, hey, you are incredibly imperialistic right now. What are you trying to do, ruining our region like this? You can say, oh, whoa, watch it, UAE. It's just me and my buddy Australia, my buddy England and France. We're all just chilling in here having a good old time. Don't call us out, America. Pff, we're just another one of the group. We're trying to dilute our blame, and so I guess that's why. And at the same time, as much as people dislike the U.S., most countries that are allies with us really want to stay on our good side, because when a war does break out, we are the country with the biggest military, and we're the ones who foot the bill and take care of most of all those endeavors. And so that's something I guess you can't take pride in the U.S. with, but then again, you have to. It's a double-edged sword because it also means that we're just incredibly violent people as a whole, and we just can't get enough war. It seems like it. I don't know. It seems like we're always in a war, but. I don't know. It's understandable that other countries want to rush to our aid because they don't want to get on our bad side, and also they understand that, hey, if we put in a little bit of money here relatively to what the U.S. is spending, we're going to reap disproportional benefits from that. So, yeah. X Lite ZV. Getting started in high school. All right, here's your advice, X Lite ZV. First day of school, you walk into high school. The first teacher that gives you shit or asks you a question, you walk square to the front of the room. You take out the butterfly knife that you've had in your pocket all day. You do a cool maneuver. You turn back to your classmates. You kind of shrug and go, I ain't putting up with this shit. Then you just shank him right in the neck. Bam! Bam! Shank him, and then go to the nerdiest kid in the class, throw the bloody blade at him, and then like kind of pull out a gun like out of your pants and be like, if anybody in this classroom says shit when somebody gets you, I'll cut your cap in your ass. Then you plug it back down in your pants, and then you just kind of sit there, and you put all the blood on the nerdy kid, and he's sitting there terrified with the knife, and then the principal comes in and he goes, oh my god, nerdy kid, what have you done? You killed him! You killed him! What have you done? And then he goes there, grabs the nerdy kid, and everybody else in the class is terrified, and they don't want to say anything because they think you're going to bust a cap in their ass. And then afterward, everybody respects you because that's going to spread around school really quickly, you know? So that's how you make friends, because people are going to have to be your friend because they're going to be so terrified not to be your friend that you're going to do something crazy, like shank him in the back of the head during recess or something. Or I guess you don't get recess in high school unless you go to a really awesome high school. I would kill for recess in high school, Jesus. Although I probably would have turned it into some sort of nap time because that was even better. I can still remember my kindergarten teacher telling me, because I would never sleep during the day because I have trouble sleeping a lot, and so I'd be laying there on my little mat or on my towel or whatever I had and like rolling around like all anxious, like like talking to all the other boys and girls in my class, like really disrupting their sleep, and she'd be like, Taylor, you are gonna wish you had nap time in about 10 years. And I was just thinking there, laying there brooding like, you don't know shit. You don't know shit, Miss Huffman. There's no way I'm going to want nap time. I don't want a nap time. And then, lo and behold, like 10 years later, when I was like 16 or 17 in high school, I'm like, oh my God, please, nap time. And even now, in college, you can't outgrow naps. They're fantastic. Dolan Duck, cartoons now versus cartoons of the 90s. I mean, that's a hard call because I watched cartoons in the 90s when I was younger, and I watched cartoons in the early 2000s. I mean, I guess I still watch Family Guy, American Dad every once in a while, South Park, of course, but I don't really count those as the cartoons you're referring to because those were around in the 90s as well. I mean, I watched The Simpsons in the 90s, but I would have to say I enjoy 90s cartoons better, but that's just because of nostalgia, you know? In 30 years, they're going to be like, kids on the internet are going to be like, only 19 or 20 teens children are going to get this, and just making all these dumb gay jokes, which, by the way, I cannot explicitly say how frustrated I am when people who are born in like 1995 say they're a 90s kid. I was born in 1991, and I wouldn't even consider myself a 90s kid, you know? I grew up, I was like 9 or 10 when the 90s ended, like, so what? That doesn't mean I was born there. Like, most of like my growing up happened in the 2000s, you know, because I going from 10 to 19 was a lot was a lot bigger deal than going from 0 to 9, you know? So, I don't know, I think most of it is just an attempt for people who are young and insecure to try and project their history deeper than it goes so they can try and, you know, scrounge some level of, like, culture and be like, oh, well, I was around in the 90s, remember Kurt Cobain? Ho, 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 remember Nirvana? And they're, like, 14 years old, and it's just like, I don't know, it just kind of irritates me. But, cartoons of the 90s, my favorites, I have to say, really young in the 90s, I watched Rugrats constantly, I liked Ren and Stimpy, I liked G.I. Joe, I like Ninja Turtles. G.I. Joe, those may have been reruns, because I know those were like late 80s too, but I don't know. I just watched whatever was on. Owen Zachy Kelly, what is your opinion on sex? I think sex is great. It's a fun time. It feels fantastic. And it's a great way to stay in shape. So if you do decide to have sex, definitely use protection, though, because that sounds really trite, and it's one of those things that no matter how trite it sounds, it is correct, so, like, don't be a bitch, just put a condom on. Yeah, we all know that it makes it feel, like, 10,000 times worse, and it ruins some of the fun, and it just feels weird, uncomfortable, but just wear the goddamn condom. It's better to just wear the condom and have less good sex than to deal with a goddamn kid for, like, 18 years and have just, like, a baby mortgage, so that's not good. Nobody wants that. But, anywho, got through a few of your questions. At this rate, I'll be done by, like, winter 2014. Hope you guys are enjoying. If you are, please leave a rating. If you're not, yell at me angrily. I appreciate that. We could use a little bit more trolling on this channel because it seems as though everybody agrees with me on almost everything. But anyway, that's all I have to say, and I love you.